Successful people say that reading significantly contributed to their great results.
I read a lot.
I read a lot of books.
I just read and read and read.
Reading for pleasure has always been a minority occupation.
So let's talk about how to read more and avoid this reading procrastination.
The biggest problem in 21st century is that we avoid reading not because we're too lazy or stupid, but because we have a great alternative to the books, a phone.
So going to the bed in the evening, we tend to take our phones with us, or when we wake up, we tend to pick our phone the first thing in the morning, or when we go for a walk and go to the park, we sit on the bench and start scrolling social media, not reading the book, right?
Simple books look so boring for our brain without those colorful pictures and videos we tend to see on YouTube and other social media.
So before trying to implement the habit of reading, firstly, we need to beat the habit of taking our phone all the time.
You can find more information about it in my previous videos, but here I have one life hack for you. You need to put your phone somewhere outside of your room and have a habit of charging your phone in the evening so that you have not the opportunity to scroll the Instagram before going to sleep.
You can put your book on the pillow so that when you make your bed for sleeping, you can see this book and start reading right before going to sleep.
The next advice, change your attitude. For most people, one book looks like a huge challenge, 300 pages, oh my god. But don't be so stressful here. The average book contains 300 pages, 80,000-90,000 words. So the average speed of reading is 200-300 words per minute. So now let's use the calculator and you'll understand that book requires no more than 6 hours. 6 hours, seriously, pretty bearable, right? So you can easily read one book per week. You can do that in 2 days. Of course, different types of literature require different period of time. For example, scientific literature requires more time than fiction. But no one said that you need to read one book every single day, right? So it's pretty bearable. You can easily read one book per week and don't be so stressful here. Third advice, read different books at a time.
There is one common delusion that we need to read one book at a time, we treat it seriously, but that is so illogical because, well, firstly, remember how many books you read when you went to school. Of course, there were a lot of classes and you read different books and you read them part by part, right?
Our content needs differ throughout the day. For example, in the morning, I like to read something like cognitive science or biographies of successful people because it really motivates me to have a productive and effective day. In the afternoon, I like to read something like fiction in order to have a rest and, just it's like watching a film for me. I can relax with reading the fiction book. And in the evening, sometimes I like to read fiction books. Sometimes I feel so motivated to learn something new and I can read scientific literature. Well, it depends on the person, right? So try to read different books at a time because throughout the day, throughout the week, you have different desires, you have different priorities, and it would be so helpful for you to have various options to read.
Full ownership of a book only comes when you have made it a part of yourself, and the best way to make yourself a part of it, which comes to the same thing, is by writing in it. I typically create my digital notes in the evening when I read the book.
And then on the next day, when I feel more productive, I rewatch my notes. I take my notebook for notes from the books. I have specific notebook for this reason, and I tend to write all those notes in this notebook. So I'm not simply copying the information. It's pretty passive way to do that. I rewrite this information with my own words because this is the only way that allows me to actually understand this information properly and adopt this information in my real life. So that's indeed important. I really advise you to do the same.
And the last step, but the most interesting, I guess, try to stop reading on the most interesting place. Well, whether it's scientific literature or fiction, try to read the next couple of sentences from the next chapter so that I can feel excited to return to that place on the next day. Well, this is the trick that a lot of series use in order to, well, keep your attention so that you keep on watching a specific movie. Same thing here. So I think you'd like it. So, have a good reading time. Bye bye.